They can be a great people, Kal-El, they wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good. I have sent them you, my only son.
I mean, it's better than Sticker Star. Okay, I know many of you have torn into this game, and I honestly was ready to as well, but after playing it, I may change my mind. It's complicated.
But you may be asking your screen, Kevin, where's the Sticker Star review?
And I'm glad you asked. Let's see what happened last time I tried to play this game.
Kevin, what are you doing? Kevin. It's okay, you dealt with it. It can't hurt you anymore.
Well, now that we've established that I can't actually play Sticker Star, let's take a look at Color Splash.
Development for Paper Mario Color Splash began in 2012, along with Sin. In an interview with Game Informer, producer Kensuke Tanabe explained that during development, Shigeru Miyamoto approached Tanabe and asked the developers to make the game with only pre-existing Mario characters. This wasn't the only request from the Nintendo higher-ups, however, as somewhere along the development for Sticker Star and Color Splash, the dev team was told to change the genre from RPG to action-adventure. The director of production at Sushi Ikuno thought he had the perfect idea for the new action-adventure approach for Color Splash and pitched the coloring as the main focus of the game. Tanabe loved the idea and apparently spent most of the development making sure that it felt good to color the very nice looking world in with your hammer. Co-producer Risha Tabata stated that they wanted to fully utilize the power of the Wii U for Paper Mario's first HD outing. They wanted the artist to make a realistic looking paper world, and if I'm being honest, they completely knocked it out of the park. This game looks fantastic. It's clear that the artist worked very hard to bring us something that looks this beautiful. This is easily the most gorgeous Paper Mario game. Some of you people out there don't like how realistic and emphasized the paper aesthetic is, and I can see where you're coming from on it, but come on, this is way more pleasing to look at versus the other titles, especially Super Paper Mario.
But is the game as pretty on the inside as it looks on the outside? Let's take a look at the story.
Well, it looks like this game is going for the good old Nintendo approach to the story. Our tale begins with Peach and a Toad bringing Mario a Toad that has lost all of its color. One crazy boat ride later, and we find out that Bowser has stolen all of the big paint stars in Prism Island, and along with a new companion, Huey, Mario must find the stars and defeat Bowser. During our adventure, spoilers, Peach gets kidnapped. Mario and Huey collect all the big paint stars and come to find out that Bowser has been corrupted by him mixing all the paint together to create black paint. Apparently, black paint is what corrupts you in this world, so we'll roll with it. One Mario Kart 8 reference later, and we find Bowser's floating fortress, defeat Bowser, and save the princess. However, all the black paint is causing the castle to collapse. Huey stays behind to suck up all the black paint because plot, and he sacrifices himself to save everyone from the corruption. With everyone safe, Mario and Peach look to the stars and hoping that Huey is still alive.
Yes, the plot is very bare bones, and normally I would give it a pass because it's a Mario game, but the Paper Mario series are special in this subject.
So not counting Sin, Paper Mario has always kept a great track record of maintaining a clever, charming, and full-of-life story. The Thousand Year Door, in my opinion, executed it the best, and Super Paper Mario was so off the normal path that it was a breath of fresh air. Paper Mario 64 had a bare-bones plot, sure, but throughout the adventure, the side characters and different areas you visit made it very memorable. Color Splash tries to emulate this, and it gets half of it right. The levels throughout this adventure are very clever. One minute I was sailing on the high seas in search of a lost pirate treasure, and the next thing I knew I was cooking a steak to perfection, followed by a high stakes train escape. The level experience is the biggest reason to play Color Splash. They take the levels back to how the overworld was handled in the first two Paper Mario games versus the platforming that you saw in Super Paper Mario. That lovely world exploration mixed with exploring has returned, but the game adds some fun gimmicks to keep you exploring. And also some not fun gimmicks to keep you exploring. Paper Mario Color Splash gives Mario the ability to paint his environment in the form of a paint meter tracking the colors of red, blue, and yellow. Throughout each level, there are blank spots all around that you can fill in with your hammer at the cost of some paint from your meter. You can also cut out portions of the background with the Wii U gamepad to further your progression in the game. All of this is actually very satisfying, and it can be a great motivator for exploring all of the levels. They also try to push rewarding you for exploring all the levels by finding all of the rescue toads, and this just doesn't pan out. At the beginning, they're very satisfying to find, but if I'm being honest with you, they're actually more annoying than satisfying later in the game, because they halt your progression at times, and you have to backtrack through the entire f***ing game to find these guys, and you all know how I feel about backtracking. Some of these squads can even get up into the high 40s, so you spend hours and hours just trying to find these guys if you're not using a guide. You don't have hub towns anymore because the levels are divided up into a world map like Super Mario World. This doesn't work well pacing wise if you try to play the game for long periods of time, but if you take an hour or two to play them at a time, it's much more enjoyable. Honestly, the charm of the levels was my main drive when playing through Color Splash.
But Kevin, I hear you say, characters and personalities are usually the driving force of any Paper Mario game. Is that the case here?
This game seriously lacks memorable characters. In previous games, minus Sticker Star, Paper Mario always utilized strong writing and clever characters to push the story forward. As I stated earlier, Miyamoto asked the devs to only use pre-existing Mario characters, and that's what they did. In Color Splash, all the NPCs are toads, and the writers do a very good job at making them funny. It's that classic wit and charm that we've all come to expect out of a Paper Mario game. There's only one problem that I have with it. I didn't remember any of them, and I can guarantee that you won't remember a single toad or line that they say because they all look the same. Funny and clever writing can only go so far when the characters visually don't look interesting, and quite frankly, that holds the game back.
Kevin, you little shithead!
Companions usually help carry Paper Mario games, and here we only get one, as opposed to the 6 or 7 that we've gotten in previous entries. Sticker Star started this, and Color Splash is having to continue it, but to be fair, Huey's about as good as they could have done based upon their situation.
I started out f***ing hating this guy, but as the game continued, I warmed up to him. His quick remarks are great, and he gives a self-awareness to the games that Paper Mario always needs. Huey is the only character I remember in this game because he's the only unique person Mario interacts with. Even the villains were bland and uninteresting to me. For the first half of the game, I just battled Shy Guys. Finally, the game decides to give me some Koopas and Goombas, because God forbid we have some variety in the enemies that we fight. And if I have to fight the Koopalings one more f***ing time in a Mario game, I'm going to lose it. These guys were a delight to see return during the Wii era when New Super Mario Bros. Was all the rage, but that was over 10 years ago, and they have been used to death by this point.
I guess it's time to talk about that battle system.
People either are content with this battle system or absolutely f***ing hate it.
I ordered my opinion on Amazon and I can't wait to get it, but I guess while I'm waiting, the only thing I can do is battle Midnight. Once again, we enter turn-based combat, but it's a lot different than before.
Mario is suited up with cards for his battles in a turn-based combat where you can use these cards for attacks. Some of your cards come colored in, and the others you have to color in with your paint by utilizing the touchscreen of the Wii U gamepad. Once you defeat your enemies, they drop paint hammers and increase your max paint in your meter. That's about it. It may sound like I'm oversimplifying the combat, but I promise you that's all it is. It's very simple and anyone can really jump into it, which is why I think Nintendo went the route that they did. Sin was going for something very similar, however you do get something here in the form of upgrading your paint meter, whereas in Sticker Star you got about as much satisfaction of playing that game as your PC does of booting up Fallout 76.
Oh yeah!
Holy shit! Gameplay-wise, Color Splash's battles are super bare bones and easy. Most of the times, believe it or not, I would actually just run away, as you don't lose coins or paint and the enemies would just vanish when you get out of combat.
And here's where my biggest problem is with the fighting. There's no reason to do it.
My statement still stands that there is small incentive to battle here, however that incentive is completely blindsided because I never had an issue with low paint numbers. In a typical RPG, the player gets satisfaction from combing through annoying enemy after annoying enemy because you get a little bit of XP that makes you stronger. However, you don't get that satisfaction because you will never run out of paint, as I said, or feel like you could benefit from having more of it. One could argue that battling has another purpose because you get coins in which you could use to buy cards, but the game gives you tons of cards in every area of every level. However, it gets worse because these cards also respawn, so you could leave an area and then immediately come back to farm cards if you need to. And because of this, battles feel long and tedious.
I almost wish they had taken the Super Paper Mario approach and made the game strictly a platformer, because some of these level designs are super interesting, but because of the battle system, they really overstay their welcome. Don't get cozy now. Still don't like you that much.
The game does give you real-world items, and these are called special items, so that throughout the story you can squeeze and turn them into cards. These give some Interesting effects in battle. These guys are fun and super wacky, but you never want to use them because you need them for boss fights or level progression. It's such a shame because incorporating paint into the battle system could have been such a great idea and could have led to some super interesting gameplay. Like, why not let us paint enemies to make them confused or embarrassed that they're now a different color like pink or blue or green?
But alas, that's not what we got. Ooh, my opinion has arrived. Let's take a look. Oh, this is worthless.
It may sound like I'm giving Color Splash a bad rap, but I truly did enjoy this game. I'm just very disappointed with some of the design choices made. Color Splash looks amazing and the soundtrack is one of my favorites out of the Paper Mario saga. I had a great time playing this game, I just didn't remember any of the characters or the story when I finished with it. The combat is super tedious at times, but that's not why I played the game. I played the game for the environments and the worlds that this game crafted in front of me, and they were truly a delight.
If you're wanting an interesting and unique approach to the Paper Mario series, Color Splash isn't a bad option. It's definitely better for newcomers over whatever the f*** Super Paper Mario is. And for you old-timers out there, this game isn't that bad. Is it what I want to see out of the Paper Mario series? Maybe not, but it definitely doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. This game was dead before it even launched, partially because it was on hardware that no one besides me owned, but also because people saw it and judged it before they even knew anything about it. This game never had a chance to shine, and that's a shame. I challenge you guys to go out there and play it and form your own opinion of it, because saying that's the Sonic 06 of Paper Mario games doesn't do it justice, because let's be real, that's Sticker Star.